with an opening statement from Coach X as we head into the final week of the regular season?
Obviously, it's a big week coming up for us. Quick turnaround from playing the last two opponents, playing them, 3 or 4 days apart. So it's a quick turnaround. We shift our focus from our last game to this game yesterday, and we understand that what we did at ODU won't be enough to get it done here. If you look at their team, Appalachian State beat them at Old Dominion by almost 20, and then they turn around a week and a half later and they beat Appalachian State at Appalachian State by 1. So, again, two different games. We have to have our focus at an all-time high, and we have to be ready to come out and protect the home court.
How do you, this time of year, Coach, kind of get your guys not to assume that these guys are going to do a certain thing just because you see them so often? How do you kind of make it like new all over again? Because you're getting obviously close to the tournament.
Well, the cool part about it is, when we walked into the locker room yesterday to watch film, we always talk about, what do we learn, whether we lose or win the ball game. And, Dezane Mingo made a comment. He said we've been here before, meaning I believe it was before the Georgia State game, right? We had played those guys, beat them pretty good at Georgia State, and then turned around and they came here and beat us. So, we have a little saying, don't drink the Kool-Aid. It's old, but, we say that. So don't drink the Kool-Aid and understand that we've been here before. And, what won us the game there won't necessarily win the game here at home.
Kind of alluded to ODU having that ability to play almost better on the road. When you think about their ability to come in, as you mentioned, just what is maybe some of those things you take away from the last game that you're wanting to see again here?
It's funny. Some teams have a tendency to play better actually on the road, and that's funny. But I don't know what it is. I don't know if they feel less pressure away from home and they just come out and play loose. But we want to keep them off the offensive rebounds, which is really important. We need to execute our press break a little better. We were up 13, 14 points at their place, and then the last 3 minutes. We turned the ball over, had some costly turnovers, and let those guys back in the game. So we want to keep them off the glass, and also we want to execute our press break.
General excitement to be back home. I think they said it was over 3,000 miles for you guys, and then now you're back here for the last 2 years.
I didn't realize that, but yeah, it's always nice to be home. As the old saying goes, no place like home. And, we're excited to be back, but we also understand that we have to stay focused and we can't relax because we're at home.
Can you talk about what it's like going to have veterans this time of year? Obviously, both those games you were tested down the stretch and you were able to pull them out. But how does that help to have some fifth-year guys and some guys who played a lot of basketball?
You know what, Keith? They've been around. They've been in the wars. They've experienced different situations. We had talked about, especially the last game, we had talked about being a game of runs, and one of our main focal points was to stay poised. And obviously, when you have older guys, it's easier to stay poised because they've been in those situations before, and it ended up paying off at App State.
Mentioned Eric's impact in that last game. You just go a little bit more on that in terms of what you saw from him. He comes in the second half, plays a lot of minutes, and helps you guys get some interior force. I'd say.
You know what? When you coach, right? Some people show up to the game, and then once they leave the game, win or lose, if you win, everybody's happy. If you lose, the players can't play, the coach can't coach, and then they forget about it. Well, the coach stays up all night thinking, looking at himself, looking at the team, trying to find out what's best for the team, right? So it was a lot of sleepless nights when we gave up 96 points in the paint in 2 games. And I had to look at it along with my staff and say, hey, let's look at adding some size. Kay Gibbs is playing well. He didn't do anything wrong. It's just his size, right? So the before these last 2 games, we decided to put Eric in, and it's paid dividends for us. I know he didn't play a lot at Old Dominion, but he played 17 minutes, I believe, at App State, and his size helped us. So, again, it's one of those deals. He came in, he done a great job. He was big, he was physical, and his size, because we played Old Dominion, you'll see him tomorrow. They're huge. App State is even bigger. So Eric's size pays dividends for us.
Kind of building off of that, there have been teams that put you in different situations, give you different looks, and so you've had to go to your bench, and it seems like the bench has really stepped up and answered the call and give you a little bit more versatility.
Yeah, those guys, they stay ready for their opportunities, and that's one of the really good things about this team. We talked about it in the locker room after the App State. We talked about it yesterday at film. They're high character young men, and they care about two things. They care about themselves, they care about winning, and they care about each other. So again, as long as we keep those things as the focal point, Kay Gibbs, that guy went from playing to not playing the last two games, but he was the biggest cheerleader on the bench. He was the biggest rally guy on the bench, and that says a lot about his character, and it says a lot about those guys pulling for one another. So as long as we keep those two things at the forefront of what we're trying to do, then I think we can do something special.
As you know, the old expression, defense travels. I thought, even though Mike and Obina didn't have great offensive games, defensively, they were really good. How much does that help you this time of the year when everybody locks in?
It's funny, Keith. We talked about that yesterday as well. Mike, I don't have to look at the stats because we talked about it. Mike went 2 for 9, 1 for 6, or 1 for 7 from 3. But we always talk about how can you impact the game, when your shot's not going in. And obviously Obina had a great offensive game at ODU, but then he turned around at App State and didn't have a great offensive game. But he still blocked shots. He still played physical. And those guys both, so every game is different. DeZane, he had a great offensive game at Old Dominion. But just because he had that game doesn't necessarily mean, at App State, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate into tomorrow's game. So again, we have to understand as a unit that each game is different. Tonight might be my night. Tomorrow may be your night. But I still have to play physical. I still have to play tough. I still have to defend and rebound and try to help my team win.
Kind of every week talk about like stacking days and wanting to have a good day every day. When you have a shorter turnaround like this, I guess what would today look like in terms of a successful day of stacking up and getting it done?
You know what? We again, I take those guys' input, and I go back a week or so ago. It seems like longer than that, right? When we lost to South Al, and we lost in overtime. I felt that the South Al game beat us twice because we went to Louisiana and we weren't ourselves, right? So I kind of asked the guys for feedback. What can we do? Were we this? Were we that? And we've kind of scaled back our physical preparation. So we're doing a lot of mental preparation now. So today, again, we're trying to win today. We'll watch film. We'll come out. We'll shoot some. We'll work on our press break. We'll go over a few plays, and then they'll shoot some more, and then we'll be out of here. So again, at this time of the year, it's more mental than it is physical because again, you run one more day, are you gonna get in better shape because you went balls to the wall or played hard today? Not necessarily. So it's more mental right now. Our guys just need to stay locked in on what we're trying to get accomplished, and we know we have a lot of basketball ahead of us.
So I know you guys obviously one game at a time mentality, which is what you're supposed to do. How do you not think about the Sun Belt? You don't even bring it up and say we'll talk about it Friday once it's all said.
Yeah, we hadn't talked about it, Keith. We're one day mentality, not even one game. We're trying to win each day. We hadn't even talked about the Sun Belt. We watched the game. We watched some games on the way back. Everybody had their computers, their phones, watching games, and the way the internet now is, it's hard to not see it, but we don't talk about it. We're more consumed and focused on the day because again, if we stack enough days, then when we get to that opportunity, when we get to that challenge or when we get to the opportunity, however you want to look at it, we'll have a chance.
Good. All good.
Appreciate it, fellas.